Ali.
Good morning, everyone. Hello. So I think we're here and we're so excited to be here. My name is Virginia Rivera, and I am the G100 Global Networking for the Caribbean and in Puerto Rico. I am thrilled to have been chosen to share this moment with our dearest Enolia. I have to say that the first time I met Enolia, her energy, her peace, what she transmitted to all of us through cameras was amazing. And I think that this is like this that I felt at that particular moment is I think what we're all feeling when we read her book. We have been privileged to have the opportunity to read into Enolia's heart. And I have to say that I love, love what I have read so far. It's an easy read, it's a beautiful read, but most importantly, I think we all need to touch upon this, particularly for me. The launch of a new book is something it's new life. It's literally being in the christening of new life. It's really allowing these words and these experiences and most importantly these lessons to really become something, a new identity. So I want to congratulate from the bottom of my heart Enolia's more than anything wisdom, but I think her courage to really recognize where she was the moment the messenger spoke to her, and the fact that she listened and she started to really dig deeper into who she was. Because this book, and I'll tell you the title in a few minutes, is really transcendental for any woman. I think we've all gone to hell and back in many ways. And this book speaks because it's about the path back to who you are, back to the nature of what you are and the ancestral energy that inhabits your soul. Many times we don't realize why we think things. We don't really value the intelligence from the heart to the mind. But the truth is that we are souls that have this energy within us. And many times we don't trust it enough. It's about finding your joy, finding yourself, and love and learning to love yourself. So to me, to participate in this launch of the fabulous book, Finding My Sovereign Voice with my grandmother elder, and also the workbook Discover Your Sovereign Self by our author, our beloved Enolia Foti, is truly a privilege. Hi, Enolia. I see that you're here with us. So I am so excited to share this moment with these wonderful women that are also, and men that are here. Hi, Div. It's so great to see you. But the truth is that to me, the book spoke because it spoke to my ancestral energy. As we were talking behind cameras, my name, Virginia, comes from my grandmother. And in those particular moments where my doubt was biggest and loudest in my head, I need to channel that was in my heart. And I felt that my namesake would is with me and talks to me. So I truly understood this book and I embraced it. Today with us, additional to Enolia that I'm going to be presenting in a few minutes, I would like to say who's going to be sharing with us. So we have Marin Troini is our global chair for G100 Global Networking. Welcome, Mar, and she is our co-moderator. Welcome, Mar.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Virginia and Noria, for being here. Dee from Mauritius, Krishna from Romania, and Anita, Global Chair from Openness and Wisdom, for lending us your people from your green. This is really a joint action from Openness and Wisdom that print this global networking with that, with openness, with wisdom to cope for the future. This book, this beautiful, that I send you my congratulations, my heart's congratulations, Enolia, for this beautiful and powerful book. Invite
Thank
us,
you.
empower
Thank you
us,
so much.
encourage, motivate us to find our inner peace in a hostile world, to find our personal resilience. Enolia deliver practical tools through storytelling, her own story, because that is about a community. And G100 is a community. And this is what we do. We exchange, we learn, we connect to learn from each other from a heart that is generous, truly generous. And they know that we are always ignorant. We never could overcome the category of ignorant because we are always learning day by day. And I would like to end saying what Enolia say, what is the essence of a community? Being part of a community provides a means to help, to assist, and teach each other and to share empowerment. Yes, Enolia, that's what you are contributing to this community empowerment. You are giving a true power to all of us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mari. So, we loved hearing your voice, Enolia, truly. So, welcome, welcome. And I'm just going to say, when I was looking for information on Enolia, because I've known her, I met her before, and I've worked with her before, but it is so long and there's so much. But I thought that these were very important. Award-winning international speaker. And when Enolia speaks, we feel, right? And that is something that not everybody can say. Social entrepreneur, and I think that what Mad was talking about, how community is at the center of everything. Also, energetic life business coach. And I think, and I was just saying prior to coming to the camera, that somebody questioned my exchange of value of time with money. And sometimes it's not even about that. There's so much more. It's the intangible of what we do, and author and modern day medicine woman. And I think if there's something, and it's a mouthful, is particularly that, because medicine is what we could heal ourselves if we really channeled that internal healing. And when I was reading your book, your messenger told you that you were a healer. Your family was came from a line of healers. And I think that deep down inside, we all know that we have that energy if we really tapped into it. So, Enolia, welcome to your launch. I have to say that I have been, and I know that each one of the other panelists today, or our friends, because today it's not a presentation, it's a wonderful conversation about finding my sovereign voice. Welcome, Enolia, to your show.
Thank you so much, every one of you. I'm so excited and I'm so thrilled. I mean, when you write something that's your story and you share your most vulnerable parts, it took me a while to realize that my vulnerabilities ended up being my strengths. And to know that I could share these vulnerabilities and share these teachings and share how I learned, and by sharing my story, possibly help somebody else with their life, it meant all the world to me. So I'm excited that each one of you are here. I'm excited that you've taken the time to read the story. And it is my hope and it is my prayer that it touches you in some way and helps you with your life and what you're going through and the challenges that you may be facing. So I'm really grateful. I'm just grateful.
Thank you so much. So I want to open the floor up to all of our friends here today, because truly I know that we were moved in different ways. Your words speak to us and with different experiences. So please, Dr. Anita, if you want to start, I will, love to hear your take on this, just the introduction of the book.
Let me
There you go.
take this. Okay. I absolutely love reading your book because not only did I read it, but I was able to absorb it. I felt there was the energy of feeling. Your writing is so creative that I visualized. I saw when you were in the tent. I
Mhm.
saw when you were on your way to the retreat. I saw when you were speaking with the grandmother elder. I felt your embarrassment when you were so courageous and beautiful and loving enough to say, hey, this was a part of me as well, and this is what I've come here to learn too. I felt when you were given your spiritual name, that spirit name, it's like I felt your joy, I felt your sadness, I felt your hurt, I felt your embarrassment, I felt your pain, because the path is, you know, as Virginia said, we all have gone through and continue to go through, because that's our life journey. um the visual, the actual, it's a movie. Let me just say that it's a
Mhm.
movie. And I go in a minute, in a heartbeat, to go see that movie, Beautiful. So that's what I that's what I have to say.
I agree. Chris, if you want to go ahead.
Yes, my whole life I was drawn to the culture of indigenous people, and I never ever found someone who could actually introduce me and teach me. And there was Enolia's book. Uh, it was a joy reading the book because it was exactly what I was looking for. It was a mirror to me, and Olia, your life is like a mirror going from corporate to being who you are today. It was like seeing myself and listening to the teachings of the elders. It was a blessing. I was, yes, Spirit, thank you for giving me what I was asking for. So thank you very much for giving this book to me and to the world. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Chris. Div, and thank you for being here. I'm so excited.
Thank you. So, first of all, I would like to thank everyone, especially Enolia, for inviting me to talk about her book. But I'm going to tell you guys the truth. I've only read the half of the book, and this book, when you see the cover, it's just magical. Seeing Enolia with the drum and the smile of Enolia, you you see this vibration, what this book reserved to you. And it's not a normal book that you will have at the store, but this book contains the path of how to be a shaman, the mistake. That it's not the mistake, it's you see, the vibration that she received with her grandmother elder. This is just fantastic. This is the only few words that I have to say on the book. And thank you, Enolia. Thank you, Universe. So you are right now in Mauritius, and many people met you, this wonderful and beautiful soul who came in Mauritius. And my dad, I'm going to share an experience that my dad had while receiving this book. He said to me, it's like when we received the keys of Enoch uh, many years ago, we receive another book with the same vibration, with the same frequency, and we can't express it through talking. It's just you just have to sit one within you and just read the book, because every page you just open the book, on the page you learn, this is the message that Enolia, the spirit, and the elders have to say to you. So thank you so much, Enolia.
Thank you, Div. Truly, Enolia, I think that we've all said that first feeling that we feel about the book, how we're feeling, what it did for us, because we're all different. We all live in different places and we all have different experiences. I would really like for you to share with us your journey as you were not writing it, as you were living it before you wrote it. What took you to that journey. We read initially, but as you were moving through the different indigenous people, the ancestrals, what you were feeling, what made you move from one place and one experience to the other, that inner force.
So it's interesting that you say that, because each of us in our lives at some point in time reach a precipice of where we're not happy with where we are, what we're doing. And that came for me at work. That came for me that I realized that I was aspiring in the corporate world to those I didn't even care for. And when I stopped fooling myself and giving myself this pep talk about this is what I want, this is what I want, really there was a longing in my heart of wanting something else, but I felt trapped. I didn't know how to get it. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what it was supposed to look like, feel like, taste like, touch like. So, when I went to that 13 indigenous grandmother's house, even before then, when I went to Angelica, New York, and I met with my friends, and we were hanging out, and this medium said that my mother was trying to give a message to me. My mother was trying to communicate with me, and I was too close to hear her. That something happened, something shifted in me. Something said, okay, I have to lay down this limited belief that I have, and I need to explore to understand how I can embrace the message my mother was telling me, because she meant the world to me. She meant everything to me. And so in daring and endeavoring to understand and read as much as I could, I still had this longing in my heart that I should be doing something different than what was happening at work. And then I was going through the height of lows at work, the height of lows at work. And so, how do you transition your life? What do I bring into my life? And so when I met Grandmother Isabel at the 13 Indigenous Elders Council or Grandmother's Council, and she was kind enough to give me her contact information and basically say, my girl, like as she speaks, my girl, if you're really serious, come up and see me sometime. And I'm saying to her, are you sure you're inviting me? Because I'm serious. I will be there. I'm there. And, my husband at the time asking, well, what would you like for an anniversary present? I want to go see Grandmother Isabel, because my soul said that she was an answer to the longing. My soul said, go explore this. And for the first time, I was honoring what my soul said. We all have that time when our soul, our hearts say, go do this. And we use every rationale to avoid it. I can't afford it. I can't do it. It's not time. I have responsibilities. It goes on and on and on and on and on. And to meet this woman, to have a heart connection, to have her invite me into her world, to go into her world and meet so many, I put my foot in my mouth so many times. Oh, my corporate world. The corporation tells you, if you want something, go after it, take it, grab it, it's yours. If you want the leadership, assume it, and then they'll check out the fact that you're already a leader and they'll just give you the responsibility. None of it worked. None of it worked. And how many of us have found ourselves at the time when we're like, oh my God, I've embarrassed myself and I've challenged the very person that I want to teach me. What do I do? How do I save face? And then we go into that thing we're taught. I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy enough. I haven't earned the right to be able to get this woman's respect, to be taught. And we go through all of those iterations. These are real. Yeah. These are real feelings. These are real happenings. These are real circumstances. And we don't know how to recover from them. We don't. I remember my all-time low in the book when we had started the retreat, and I went in and I had taken over from the very woman I wanted to teach. I wanted to learn from. And I said, okay, everybody, we're going to go through this retreat, blah, blah, blah. And then her assistant, Sandy, came over to me. And when she said, in all my life, as much as I've been working, the 20 years I've been working with Grandmother Isabel, I have never started a retreat like this. And I was like, oh my God, I forgot. I forgot that I came here to be taught. I'm so busy, absent from light, not present, not present, that I took over from the very woman that I came here to teach. I mean, not to teach, but to learn from.
To learn from, yes, yes.
To learn from. And in the corporate way, what would happen? That would be thrown in our face. How many times? Thrown in our face. You made a mistake. You're penalized. Sit over there on the side. We're going to go with this leader because you've already screwed up. But not her. She had me stand by her. She told me to raise my head up. Sandy told me to raise my head up. And she showed me what compassionate leadership was. And never did they say a word about what happened. I was already beating myself up, and they never breathed a word. I learned more in that moment than I had learned in my 20 years of corporate.
Wow. Wow, that's wow. That is. I'm so glad that you're sharing this, and I hope that everybody can watch this fragment right now, because we talk about community, but it starts with us and our responsibility to really learn and maybe unlearn. And you were talking about what we've learned in the corporate world. We need to unlearn a lot of that, because that is really meant to keep us insecure. It's meant to keep us separate, not as a community, not together. And the fact that, like you said, if you do something wrong, you're chastised and you're going to be probably ostracized and set aside. The fact that when you make a mistake is when you need that bonding the most, you need that person really being and standing with you. Because if you have that company with you and that love and that compassion when you make the mistake, then you're going to feel comfortable moving through it and getting over it. I think in our lives, many times when we feel that we can get out of where we got ourselves buried into, is because we feel so ashamed. There's so much
Yeah.
shame that we're not allowed to feel vulnerable. And the fact that you were celebrated, probably even for having the courage to make your mistake, standing there and accepting the love that said, you know what, you're human, it's part of it, and this is your biggest lesson. And I think that I hope that everybody listens to that today, because we're so severe with ourselves. But it
Yes.
starts with us before we can give love to the community. Before we go out there, we need to start with us aligning with our soul. And I love the fact that you talk about the heart. The heart has neurons just like the brain. It has an intelligence, and that's our soul. And if we're not connected to that, we're pretty lost. So thank you so much for sharing that, because that's exactly what I felt when I was reading it. And I just wanted to hear you say it, because it's what I felt as I was reading through it. So thank you so much. I open the floor to anybody else with this comment from Enolia.
Yeah. Yes, I have a question for Enolia, because I one of the main concepts that I have taken from your beautiful book. I wanted to say it again. It's beautiful. That is community, the sense of community, and we are a community. We are G100, so we go to the very essence of who we are. And many times we have problems of communicating on what is what we do, what is our purposes, what is the way that we support. And I find like three concepts that seems contradictory. So I would like you to explain it. Because you say silent. I welcome and embrace silence to learn the language of the universe that is within me. Silence in a community, in a virtual platform where everything is noisy. No, there is no silence. Everything is noisy. And then you say support. One of the most powerful support tools we have is being present without comment or judgment. We live bombing by judgment. We live on comments, unnecessary, many times comments. And working in community, you say, is about traditions, rituals, and ceremony. And we have traditions and rituals that are already established by the virtual world. We cannot bring the one that we love, but they deliver us what we have to do. We follow the script. And finally, you say, and Virginia also highlight that in your affirmation, you say, open your heart, because that was your learning from life, that you haven't opened enough your heart for the new. And that's what I say, this book invites us for new beginnings, because open your heart means new beginnings. So how will we do that? We mix silence with virtual platforms, with rules, and then we support in communities. How we put feelings, because I always say that we have to put feelings before the rules. How we do that? How we mix harmonically silence and noise, feelings and rules.
So to me, when I say be silent, that means to be grounded in source and to be the observer. You have the connection. The universe is within you. And that silence is really just listening to your inner voice. And when you listen to your inner voice, you're fully hearing. You're fully understanding. There's a trust within yourself. When we work in community and we are the observer, we can learn to look for the commonalities in one another instead of the differences. But we tend not to do that if we're not in silence, if we're not observing, saying, wow, she just said X, Y, and Z. I can relate to that. But if I'm busy cutting her off to interject and to tell her how I did something better or I did something too, I haven't fully listened. And you'll be surprised. And what I was surprised that in my silence, in observing the community, there were so many things I could relate to. The relationship furthered because I understood, because I had fully listened. How somebody observes something, we could be looking at the same thing at the same exact moment, and we see two different truths. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that we miss and we don't grasp is that somebody else's truth doesn't negate our truth. It just makes it different. That's how they see it. That's their eyes and the way that they look through their eyes. And we can meet in the middle and have a mutual respect and honor that. And then you talked about, you said a lot, so I'm trying to remember everything that you said, Mark. Last 2 points. Can you repeat the last two? Because there was a flow there. The last two statements that you made.
Don't worry, because you're answering absolutely. It's a beautiful response. No, I was talking about how we could mix the support, the tools that support, and sometimes is to be on silence. That is the way to support. So how we mix in a virtual platform silence with connections. You know how we
That's how I do it. That's how I do it. And then meeting people where they're at and not necessarily where I want them to be.
Key. That's
okay.
Key.
And the essence of community is celebrate self and celebrate others. And we've forgotten how to do that. We've forgotten what it means to celebrate someone to the point that they feel joy and love in their heart, and that I'm happy for their success. And I'm grateful for their success. And matter of fact, their success is my success. And I get to support that. And then to celebrate self. I made it. I'm successful. I had a guidance counselor tell me that I would never write. I would never be a writer. And that, I needed to go to remedial writing because my writing was so bad. Right? And if I had listened to that man, I would have never went on for my MBA. I graduated top 1% of my class. I had to write a paper every week. I got A's. Mm-hmm. But this man told me I couldn't write. So that trust within self comes because you surround yourself with the right people in community. As the community lifts themselves up, you lift yourself up and you believe in yourself. And then no matter what anyone says on the outside, it doesn't matter. And I learned that because in corporate, it was divide and conquer. It was, who could I, and I don't want to be cruel about it, but you belittle, you demean, you step on, you take.
It's the nature of the beast, right? So it's what happens.
It's the nature, that sense of entitlement, right? But here, I celebrated self. I celebrated others. I was happy for what they did. And I didn't feel threatened about it. I didn't feel jealous about it. I didn't feel, like, oh, it belittles me. I didn't feel like I had to be small in order for them to be large. That we were all large. So I hope that answers the question.
That's beautiful. Anita, Dr. Anita, you were going to say something. Thank you so much. That was beautiful. Yes, I totally agree.
Oh, yeah, I'm just agreeing. I'm just absorbing all of this grandmother elder wisdom. I call her mother of Angola. That's sometimes I forget and I'll say, oh, Angola, but she knows why I said, because I think of her as the mother of Angola. Absolutely the again, the words that you express, and how, and the man that said that you would never be a writer. I mean, look at how you put those letters, the symbology of letters, and collected them and put them in words, and created a story, and then created a visual for all of us to be able to receive that. And it's like my spiritual in my spiritual community, our pastor, every time she speaks, I say, Rev, every time you speak into my heart. It's like you went into my heart and saw what was in. That's what this book represents to me. Enolia, you go into another's heart and touch another's heart. And I know you're and what I love about this, beautiful sister, is that that's not your ego. What you've done is that it be able to remove that lower self and let the universe come through you and say, hey, I am pure love. I am here to give as well as to receive, because I know we're one. And I love you. I think your book is absolutely beautiful. And what I'm thinking of is before your anniversary with your then husband and meeting grandmother elder, I'm saying, wow, I thought when the student is ready, the teacher will
That's
appear.
right. Mhm.
So you've been ready. You've been ready. You've always had that spirit name. And I'm grateful and thankful for you, my sister.
Thank you.
I think what you just said, Anita, about the being ready, and I think like that spirit was always there, but she was always open, or maybe she was always ready, but she wasn't open until something made her realize that it was there. I think we all have that. And it's how do we unlock that? And I think that you've been able to show us that sometimes it's not a 1, 2, 3 thing. We're so looking into instant gratification that
Yes.
when things don't go our way immediately, then we're like, then I'm not good at this, or I can't do this. And the fact that you had to go research and live and go through experiences shows us that sometimes you have to go and delve a little deeper than just on the superficial, because we want it all here. Well, if it worked for Enolia, then I'm going to do it the same thing. So let me go call the grandmothers, and I'm going to go. The truth is that you have to be ready for it. So like you said,
Yeah.
Juanita, when you're ready, the teacher will be there, but you as a student have to be there at that moment. So I loved what you just said, Anita, because I felt that too when I was reading. If it was that easy for everybody, oh my God, but it takes that
Mm.
effort, and it also takes going through that pain of realizing that there's a wound there that I have to heal, and
Yeah.
this is what I'm doing to heal that. So I
Absolutely.
totally appreciate what you were saying. Chris, would you like to add something, or Div, whichever?
Go ahead, Dave.
Whoever wants to go.
Okay, what I was thinking is that we are talking a lot about Enolia's journey, and this is wonderful, and we make it to look so easy, to people who are
Exactly.
listening and watching us. But the truth is that it's a pretty long and tough journey, and I have to
Mhm.
acknowledge you, Enolia, for walking really the path and having the courage to walk the path, because this thing doesn't happen overnight. The steps what you've made, the decisions taken, and the lessons learned. It's years and years and years and really going inward. And I've learned something in every chapter. I've learned something from every chapter. And what really caught me in the beginning, it was when you said that working in the corporate, and especially we women, we have this in us, you know, we have the masculine and the feminine, all of us. But because of the world we are living on right now, we rely more on our masculine part, right? And when you feel that there's something missing and you want something else, and you start this journey of self-empowerment and spirituality, then actually you start to discover your feminine part. And actually I would love to ask you a question here, Enolia. How does it feel actually when you slowly bring in balance the masculine and the feminine, because we are so, we are women, but we are tough, we lead, we do this and we do by ego, and that's the masculine, right? But the feminine, she's so quiet and silent. But as you walk and learn and you go inward and you learn self-love and respect yourself and others and stuff like that, then it's coming to balance, and that will feel different. Can you please, Enola, share with me how does it feel when you balance the masculine and the feminine?
It wasn't easy. So while I was in corporate, I was the epitome of the masculine. You put on the man suit, you go, you meet the man, you go head to head with the man, you debate the man, you exist in the man's world, and you get judged by the man. And then for the first time in my life, and it started with grandmother Isabel, because at her ceremonies you had to wear a skirt, and I didn't even realize how much I had worn. I was always the suit, the business suit, but the pants business suit, and it was like, well, why do I need to wear a skirt? Well, because you're connecting to the earth. Your body is connecting to the earth. And so for the women, it's your yoni is connecting to the earth mother, and the top of your crown is connecting up. And you need to be in ceremony, you wear a skirt. That's why you get the full energy. And she's explaining this to me, and I'm like, okay, and then being in my feminine, I started wanting to wear more dresses. I started to wanting to, I didn't need to raise my voice. I didn't have to be loud. I didn't have to assert myself. I could have a conversation no more than this and lay down the law and never raise my voice. And I had to learn how to do that. Instead of going like, I have to do it the masculine way and I have to be loud and I kind of demand it and everything else. Coming into the feminine and understanding that, how did the Amazonians put it? The womb is not a place for fear or pain. The womb is a place to create and to give birth to new life. And it's not just about the power of giving birth physically, but it's about the power of the fact that we have gestation. And gestation is a power. And that we have the capability of looking at things from different viewpoints and taking it and capturing all of that information and packaging it during our process of gestation and birthing something beautiful, whether it's business, whether it's personal, or otherwise. And it took me a long time to step into that power, to fully grasp what that meant. And you're right. I mean, it took years. It took years for me to be able to sit back with a group of men and not feel like I had to push my way into the conversation, demand that I be listened to, assert that, that kind of assertion, and sit back and just watch things evolve. And then realize that because I was confident in my feminine, that when I did interject or assert myself, everyone stopped and listened. Right? But when we're so busy trying to meet men head to head, it doesn't work. Then we're perceived as the bull in the china closet, the pushy one, the aggressive one. Oh God, here comes that aggressive woman again. But it's the feminine that just allows us to interject, be, assert, and be noticed immediately, for me. So I don't know if that really answers it, Christina.
Yes, you did. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yes, you did.
I think this is so provocative. I would love to hear Div talk about on this, because it's beautiful and it's provocative, and I think that I would love to hear your opinion and your take, because I feel the same way.
Me, first of all, this morning when we were walking together, this afternoon, sorry, then we're talking about shamanic drum, etc. with Enolia. And coming back home, then she said, the best fruit to offer to the shamanic drum is the strawberry. And I said, but why the strawberry? And she said, "This has the only fruit who has the form of an heart. So whatever, whenever you go, if you are a strawberry lover, so
Mhm.
I'm sure you're connected with your heart. Then the only thing, last thing that I have to say is we read the book of Enoria, but I recommend every people, all folks listening to us and watching us, to experience the ritual, the magical that
Mhm.
Enoria does with the elders, with the spirit. I'm going. Just last Sunday we had a shamanic journey in Mauritius. That was uh, very quick from the eve to on the day. We had some people had joined us. The rain was saying, "I'm here," and Enolia, we worked together, and Enolia said to me afterward that uh, here is Father Sky, listen to us. And there was no rain when we started the journey.
Mm.
And the rain started falling when we finished the journey. And every time we are with the family in the car, there is all two rainbows at the same time. Today we had a full rainbow, and this lady, when he she start to call for the spirit, you will see them coming. This you got to experience the book and the journey with her. That's it.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you. I think that, yes, I want to go through that experience. So I need to find out more about this. And I think anybody else, I think we'll be reaching out to you a lot more, Anolia. And this brings me to the workbook. The book is beautiful, but the fact that you also thought of us to accompany in that journey, and I thought you, as a coach, we know that we learn through questions, and the fact that you gave us a gift of questions so we could answer and really get to know where we're at. How do we start? We can't really go back to being born. I mean, a lot of people talk about the reborn, but I think that we can definitely start again from where we're at. And the fact your questions really ignited um, the desire to sit and really get to know where I'm at right now and where I want to go. But if I don't do the homework now, if I don't do this work right now, I'm never going to be able to go past this because, like you said, we sometimes lead with where we're most hurt, right? And we when we talk, and you look at bullies and you wonder, doesn't this person get it that they're being bullied, they're being loud, they're being obnoxious, they're being hurtful? But then you realize that a bully is just somebody who's insecure, and
Yes.
when you really allow them to reach deep down and get to know who they are and why am I afraid and what am I afraid of, and you talked about the illusion of truth that I am going to keep with me and talk about that with my coachees. It's not real truth, it's the illusion of it. So I really appreciate the workbook because we have to work in order to get down to what we don't want to face. Sometimes we want to be what everybody else wants us to be, and we ignore who we really are. And like you said, I don't have to scream anymore. I don't have to be loud anymore. I feel so confident in who I am that I know my place. And this is, and I feel big in my place without having to be a bully with anybody else. So the workbook, at what point did you say, okay, so I'm going through this. Now I want to help others go through this too? Was it at the very end or early on? You were like, no, I have to share this. I have to work with this.
So I'm going to tell you that the workbook came before the story. The
Mm,
workbook was the first thing
awesome.
that I wrote. I didn't write the stories. And matter of fact, I'll never forget that I was in New Zealand and I was in retreat with the Waiataha, and I met this beautiful woman named Kelly. And Kelly was like, I have to read something. I have to read something. And I'm like, well, I wrote a self-help book, but I don't know if that's the kind of thing you want to read. And she was like, I don't mind, but please don't ask me for feedback. Don't worry, I'm not going to ask you for feedback, So I gave her the book to read. And she goes, oh my gosh, I love this. I love this. What made you come up with this methodology by which to work and to face yourself in the mirror, by which to question yourself like this? And then I started telling her the stories of my elders. And she's like, oh my gosh, you have to write the stories. And I'm like, you're interested in the stories? And she's like, of course. And I'm like, oh, okay. So actually, the original, I was so motivated that I wrote for each chapter about each teacher that I had. And then when I took the time to blow up about each teacher, really expand what I learned from each teacher, the book was really, 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 really long. So what I did is I took one out of the 7 teachers and just wrote about the one teacher to start. So there's like 6 more that can come, more different experiences that can come. But the workbook was my passion. That came way before any of the stories.
Well, I can tell. I mean, it was so profound and it really helps you dig deep, but it's also very gentle. I think that your questions are they're benevolent. And sometimes when you read self-help, sometimes it's really harsh and you're not even ready to go through that portal yet. And the fact that your questions were so compassionate and allowed us to really have a little empathy with ourselves, I really appreciated that. And it gave us the time to really think. So I know that the workbook really meant a lot to me, especially as a coach and as a tool. I know, Anita, you work with other people, and I know each one of you. I would like to hear about how you would share this workbook, with other people, because to me, the book is wonderful, and you get to the origin, but the workbook is really the work that we have to do. Mar.
One of the questions that you made in your book that resonate with me is one that say, are you open to unseen realities? Not everyone is able to understand this question, because you see, no, I'm getting crazy, because if I cannot see it, this is not logical. If the community is telling me that it's not possible, why I will do it? But we see that the world is walking in rows, very violent, hostile. So it's better and unseen realities, walking the road of new realities than the present one. So I make it that fantasy of harmony and peace and new reality. So I love this, and I go directly with one of your sentences that say the act of attaching an emotion to a false judgment and making it our reality disempower us. How often have we sabotage ourselves in that way? For me, this is I will kindly ask you to develop this, but it caught my attention because that many times there is the essence of violence, a false judgment that make the people become aggressive. So maybe we are founded a secret to a big change from our societies. Now, what is about that emotion, this false judgment that disempower us and disempower many others?
So you honed right in on it, Mar, because that is the act of attaching an emotion to a judgment is how we give away our power. Exactly. It's how we lose ourselves, because what happens is that then we're emotional about something that's been said and we own it and it's not even ours. So if I sit there and I say, oh, Mar, I really don't like the color of your hair, and you go, oh my God, my hair, maybe I should change the color of my hair. You just gave away your power to that person. Mm-hmm. Because you took that reality that wasn't yours. That's her opinion. So what if she doesn't like your hair? But how many times do we do this daily in our lives and then even react to it, change our lives for it? and assumed that it was our truth and adapted as our truth. And we never, never, never had anything to do with it in the first place. So it took me a long time to figure it out because I was doing that. I was giving away my power that way. I was losing what should have been my stance and my truth by adapting what everybody said I should be doing versus trusting myself and doing what I knew I should be doing. So to me, you got it. You got it. That was it. That was the point.
We wanted to change societies. We are ambitious here, so we have to go to the very essence of the codes societies, and this is one of the codes. People feel the power disempowering others, and that is a rule. That's a rule, and social media hold a very strong responsibility on that. That's why we work from the virtual community. Just I would like to say, if Virginia allow me, yes, just one thing from an author that is Becca Lee, that she say, if you seek peace, be still. If you seek wisdom, be silent. If you seek love, be yourself.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Thanks for sharing. Okay, so we're at 10 minutes of finishing our wonderful conversation. I'm going to start with each one of you then for your last comments before we end with our dearest Enolia. So Anita, we were talking about, Mar just spoke about, being yourself, and that's when you invite love. And I think that a lot of what we read with you in your book is really being yourself, opening yourself up to be part of that community, and not, but then not allowing anybody to steal what is yours, not giving away that power. So I think that is absolutely true. And you talked a little bit about instinct, and how we follow that, how we sometimes don't even give ourselves the opportunity to be instinctual, to really believe and trust what is in our hearts, in our soul. So I would love to move with Dr. Anita, and I know that you talk about this oneness is about that, is about really being aligned with that. So Anita, I'm handing it over to you right now, and these will be
Yes, it's just absolutely, just very quickly, everything that Enolia has said throughout and within the book and responding to our questions and everything is absolutely about oneness and being within and trusting what Enolia said, trusting ourselves. We are an external data driven society. We take validation from the outside, vision boards, a lot of things that we do, we extract them from the outside to create a reality for our inside and believe that what we've received on the outside is our truth. To me, the whole book, what Enolia is saying in the journals, is saying it's all about tap into you, going inside. Here is the reality on the inside. The truth of who we are is on the inside. Once we're able to remove saying, the external, external is a confirmation. It is not to bring us the truth. It is to confirm, if we will, what our truths are. So when we're able to tap into ourselves and go within our self, trusting, believing, because it's that my belief is my truth and my truth will produce. So if I'm believing what's on the outside, I'm going to produce that what is inconsistent and unauthentic of what my soul is on the inside. So absolutely, it's all about trusting that instinct, trusting that intuition, trusting that we are one with the creator, with God, with the universe, however we want to say it, trusting that we are co-partners, trusting that we are children, trusting that we are one with each other. There's one energy and one love, and we're all a part of it. And that's, to me, that's the whole context of what Enolia was saying in her book and her journal. Her journal to me is like, you that is a teacher in and of itself, because it's, you see a question, it's so inviting and welcoming that I may see a question, and my consciousness may not be ready for it, but my subconscious is, because I saw it. So that question is going to bring me back at a time when my soul is ready to receive it. And again, my hat is off to you, my sister. So what can I say?
Absolutely.
Oh my God.
Yes. Chris, well, your final words for Enolia, or questions or comments?
Yes, thank you. I just would love to thank Enolia for giving the book to the world, giving it to me. I've learned a lot. In essence, what I've learned from the book, that everything is very simple, is is all about loving and trusting ourselves and not giving our power away, and learning to let from heart and just a little bit silent the ego. So I would love to thank for that. And about the workbook, for me it was very helpful because I had a very good teacher who guided me through it, who helped me on my darkest hours, on my darkest questions, and she saw my struggle and she held the space for me. And with this occasion, I just would love to thank her, my teacher. I am blessed to have her. Name is Enolia. So
Beautiful.
thank you very much, Enolia.
You're welcome, Heart.
Beautiful. Div?
Yes, indeed. I'm going just a few words. And earlier, you have people. Mauritian has encountered someone that is unique, someone a consecrator, an inner engineer, as we used to say in the modern world. And Mauritian people was, you've seen it, and I'm going to share it. We have not met, but encounter someone who came. The spirit granted a wish, so you blessed the island. That's it. The book is a magical book that tap into you and that help you to connect in you and to go with the flow. Thank you so much, Enolia.
Beautiful. Enolia, I don't know if you would like to finish with something before we say goodbye. But definitely, I want to say thank you from all of us. Thank you for choosing us. And Mad wants to say something too. Go ahead, Mad.
Yeah, I would like. I'm sorry, Virginia, but I cannot resist to say this, because we are G100, and to help others is part of our mission. And many times we face that people wanted to help. They think that they are helping, but they are not doing it. And by the contrary, they disempower many others. So I would like to reflect. You say, Lonia, that you learn that the student is the teacher and the teacher is the student. I consider myself in front of you just a student. For that, so I have learned from this, and I hope many of us will learn from you, that say what behavior disempower us, and we need to learn from here. We have to be a student of how we help. The victim, who has yet to accept the responsibility, and the rescuer, who wants to be the savior to all. The rescuer feels that the act of saving empowers the person when they are, in fact, doing the opposite. They are only disempowering those that try to help and use themselves to. In the act of rescue, they become enablers. It's just my message, that is Enolia's message. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that.
And I want to take the time to acknowledge each and every one of you and thank you. Thank you for reading the book. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being present and allowing me to share that part of myself. I Virginia, with great respect, I'm so thrilled that you were able to moderate it. I'm like, yes, because you do women's empowerment. And so for me to understand that you could embrace the book and you want to take the time to read it as a
Thank
woman who
you.
is a global influencer means the world. Dr. Anita, you know what? Tap into you, right? I wouldn't be in G100 and learning from you in the first place if I didn't believe in all that you stand for and what you bring forward to helping so many women around the world. So my heart is there for everything because I truly support what you stand for. And that's why I can be the student under you, and then I can lead for what I actually wanted to bring to the table, because you all have to know that it was part of G100 and being in G that finally brought the book to fruition, okay, through the Literacy Legacy Program, because I had been sitting on publishing it because it was being looked at by formal publishers. And then I just said, forget this, I'm publishing it myself
Beautiful.
because
Yes.
it needs to be there. And so thank you, because it was Dr. Anita and her program in G100 that pushed me to just take that step and just publish it. So I'm grateful. Mar, Mar, I love you. I love you. The networking woman that just like, okay, Enolia, let's put you here. You can do this. You got this. And you don't understand that enthusiasm, that love, that vibrancy, everything. You took the time to know who I was. You took the time, as busy as you all are. And to me, I'm so grateful for that. And I will be at Portugal next time. I missed it, but I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there getting everything set.
Yay.
And this is what lifting each other up means. Taking the time to listen to someone's story, getting to know them, understanding them, and then daring to walk side by side with them. I'm not asking you to hold me up, and I'm not asking you to prop me up. I'm just asking you to meet me where I'm at
That's right.
and learn who I am and let me walk with you. And Christina, you have done that in every respect. And by the way, Christina and I are going to be having our women's retreat in Spain of next year, July
Wonderful.
3rd through July 10th. And we will be happy to share the details inside of a couple of weeks. But it's done. We're having a women's retreat. And so the empowerment and the celebration of ceremony is going to come to fruition. I was doing this kind of work before the pandemic, and I'm so happy to get back to it. So happy to get back to it. And Div, I wanted a male's perspective. I wanted
Yes.
a man to be able to read the story, but I guess God had something else planned, because instead of him fully reading the story, he got to encounter it, because we have been doing shamanic work all week. We have another one coming up this Sunday. And the beauty of that is that he gets to experience fully what it is that this energy is bringing to the table, and how we celebrate stuff, and he not only gets to experience it, but participate in it and assist in it. And I am so grateful for you to be there. And so
Beautiful.
all of you hold a special place in my heart. I'm grateful. Thank you. Thank you for taking time with the book. The book is there to help you learn from my story and dare to make the changes in your life. And the book is the progression to the online video work, and the online course video work is the progression to the retreats. If you want to do the work and people go, how do I begin? Start with a book.
I love the cover, by the way. It is absolutely beautiful. I actually dressed in your cover colors. I loved it. I loved it. I wanted to end, and thank you so much, Enolia, with an affirmation that I thought was such a great way for us to start our days every day. And it's, you can find it there. I don't know what page it is, but it's one that I actually cut out and I'm using it. I choose to bring forward all my strength and my most courageous self for new perspectives and outcomes in my life. My heart is open to new endeavors and realities. I allow my intuition to guide me as I embrace life's creative path. I embrace assistance from all seen and unseen realities that exist. I think this is something that we can use every single day and start our day with this. So thank you so much for sharing this. Thanks so much.
Thank
Bye,
you, and
y'all.
thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Enolia. Thank you, Jiv. Bye, Chris. Dr.
Yes,
Anita.
peace,
Man.
peace, and love.
Bye, guys.